Think about it. This morning, you started your car or bike, pressed the accelerator, and cruised at 60 miles an hour without straining a single muscle. Today, if we have to walk for even 10 minutes, we get annoyed and tired. But have you ever realized that just 70,000 years ago, this very journey would have been a high-stakes game of life and death for you? No roads, no paths, no maps, and absolutely no clue what lay ahead. For almost all of human history, taking a journey meant risking everything. Today, you can fly across the globe in less than a day, or order something from the other side of the planet and it shows up right at your doorstep. Movement has become so effortless that it's practically invisible. But for 99% of human history, every single journey happened at a walking speed of just 4 miles per hour. And that single limitation shaped everything about us, what we ate, who we married, and how much of the earth we ever got to see. Today, we are diving into an incredible story that will force you to rethink how on earth we managed to get here. Let's start right at the beginning with your feet. Humans are the ultimate long-distance walkers on this planet, but we are definitely not the fastest. A cheetah can sprint at 70 miles per hour, and a horse can sustain a steady 30 miles per hour for miles. You, on the other hand, top out at maybe 15 miles per hour, and only for a few desperate seconds before you're gasping for air. But here is the twist. Speed was never the point. You can walk 20 miles in a single day, sleep, and do it again tomorrow and the next day and the next for months on end. No other animal on Earth can match human stamina. The arches in your feet act like natural springs, and your Achilles tendon stores and releases energy with every single step, saving your muscles from carrying the full load. There's even a special ligament running up the back of your neck that keeps your head perfectly stable while your body moves underneath it. And our ultimate superpower? We aren't built to be fast. We are engineered to never stop. In 1978, in Litoli, Tanzania, archaeologists discovered a trail of footprints pressed into volcanic ash 3.6 million years ago. Two individuals walking upright side by side, with feet that looked almost exactly like yours. Armed with this exact biological advantage, around 70,000 years ago, humans began walking out of Africa. They pushed generation by generation into completely uncharted territories. They crossed the Middle East, spread across Asia, reached Europe, marched through the freezing valleys of Siberia, crossed a temporary land bridge into Alaska, and kept moving south through the Americas. That is a staggering 15,000-mile journey without even knowing if a destination existed. And they weren't just wandering aimlessly. They were actively networking, trading obsidian tools and rare shells hundreds of miles away from their sources. Walking works brilliantly until you run out of land. Imagine traveling thousands of miles only to find a massive, roaring river or a vast ocean blocking your path. For hundreds of thousands of years, a body of water was an absolute wall. Animals turned back, but humans did something no other land animal had ever attempted. They turned the barrier into a highway. In 2003, on the isolated island of Flores in Indonesia, archaeologists discovered stone tools dating back roughly 800,000 years. Here is the shocking part: Flores has never been connected to the mainland, not even during the lowest sea levels of the Ice Age. There was always at least 12 miles of deep, open ocean separating it from the rest of the world. This means one simple thing. Someone made that crossing nearly 1 million years ago. Whatever raft of logs or bamboo they floated on has long rotted away, but their tools stand as undeniable proof. The real epic saga began 65,000 years ago when humans crossed from Southeast Asia to Australia. That meant sailing across at least 60 miles of open ocean. You cannot see Australia from the other side, and you cannot drift there by accident. Think about the sheer courage it took. They left solid ground, pointed a crude floating structure toward a horizon they couldn't see across, and just started paddling into the unknown. And then, the Polynesians did something completely insane. Starting around 3,000 years ago, they conquered the Pacific Ocean, the largest body of water on Earth. They built massive double-hulled canoes, loaded them with entire families, livestock, and food, and sailed thousands of miles. They had no compass, no metal instruments, and no maps. Instead, they read the stars, the rhythm of the ocean swells, the flight paths of birds, and the unique color of clouds near land. They successfully populated Hawaii, Easter Island, and New Zealand, pulling off 2,500-mile voyages across open water where a single mistake meant vanishing forever. Feet conquered the land, and boats conquered the water. You can walk 20 miles, but you cannot walk 20 miles while carrying a 200-pound animal you just hunted. For most of our history, the limit wasn't how far you could go, but how much your body could carry before your bones and muscles started breaking down, which is usually around 40 to 60 pounds. So humans started to innovate. First, they tried dragging things on animal hides. Then came the travois, two long poles tied together in a V-shape with a platform slung between them, allowing a single person to drag more than double their usual load. But the true game-changer wasn't something humans built. It was a partnership they forged. Around 15,000 years ago, humans domesticated dogs, and one of their very first jobs was hauling weight. In the freezing Arctic, teams of dogs pulled heavily loaded sleds across ice and snow. Still, dogs are relatively small. We needed more power. And about 5,500 years ago, on the vast steppes of what is now Kazakhstan, humans hit the ultimate transportation jackpot. They domesticated the horse. Archaeologists found distinct wear marks on ancient horse teeth caused by bits, proving that someone had figured out how to control these powerful creatures. The horse changed the course of human civilization overnight. For 300,000 years, the absolute speed limit for a human was walking pace, 4 miles per hour. On the back of a horse that jumped to 30 miles per hour. In a single generation, the human world effectively shrank 8 times over. Journeys that used to take agonizing weeks were now finished in days. Information moved faster, trade networks expanded across continents, and warfare changed forever, because a mounted army could now strike before you even realized they were coming. Wherever humans went, they adapted. Camels conquered the Sahara, donkeys walked the deserts, and llamas carried cargo across the steep Andes Mountains. There was one final legendary invention waiting to happen, and it took an absurdly long time to show up. Here is a bizarre historical fact that sounds fake but is completely true. Humans crossed massive oceans and tamed wild horses long before anyone ever invented the wheel. The oldest known wheel ever discovered is roughly 5,200 years old. Think about the timeline. Boats go back at least 10,000 years, and humans sailed to Australia 65,000 years ago, but the wheel was one of the last major inventions of ancient times. And it didn't even start as a way to travel. The very first wheels were used horizontally as pottery wheels to shape clay. It took a long time for a genius to look at that spinning disc, flip it on its side, and think, what if we put a platform on top of this? The earliest wheeled vehicles were painfully slow, clumsy carts with solid wooden wheels that frequently cracked on rough terrain or got swallowed by mud. Honestly, a horse running alone was much faster than a horse pulling one of those heavy carts. But around 2000 BC, someone invented the spoked wheel, light, durable, and incredibly fast. Suddenly, war chariots dominated the ancient world, combining speed and heavy cargo capacity. Paved roads followed shortly after. And once you combined the wheel, the horse, and the road, true transportation systems were born. Trade exploded, massive empires became manageable, and modern civilization finally took form. So look at the big picture. For 300,000 years, humans had absolutely nothing but their own 2 legs, and yet they managed to walk across the entire face of the earth. They hit water and engineered a way to float. They needed to move heavy loads, so they befriended animals. They needed speed, so they invented the wheel. Every single breakthrough took thousands of years of trial, error, and immense courage. And look at us today. You sit comfortably in an air-conditioned metal box on a paved road doing 70 miles an hour, and you complain about your daily commute. You fly 3,000 miles across a massive ocean in just 6 hours and get furious because the airplane Wi-Fi is a little slow. You have a tiny machine in your pocket that can summon a car directly to your exact location in 4 minutes, and you get irritated if it takes 5.